Welcome back to The Handmaid's Tale, Novel Insights, Real Impact. I'm your host, Matt Kidley. Today's episode is one that hits deep, not just in literature, but in real life too. We're talking about the loss of individual identity, inspired by The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Now, this isn't just about analyzing a book. Our purpose is to explore how the system of power, whether fictional, like Gilead, or real-world structures, can slowly strip away who we are. We want to connect these ideas to today's society, encourage critical thinking, and honestly, get you reflecting on your own identity. Because identity isn't just who we are. It's your choices, your voice, your beliefs. And when those things are controlled, limited, or shaped by outside forces, it changes everything. Before we dive deeper, a quick word from our sponsor.
So this episode is sponsored by Paygorn, where connections turn into real support. Paygorn helps people find financial backing through genuine online interactions, making support accessible, fast, and built on real connections.
Exactly. And that actually connects to our topic more than it might seem. But before we get into the discussion, let me introduce the voices that you'll be hearing today, because each perspective brings something important to this conversation. First up, I'll start with myself, Matt Kidley. I'm currently studying at Larper University and working at a rehabilitation center. My experiences there have really shown me how easily people can lose their sense of identity, whether through addiction, trauma, or external pressure. I try to bring awareness to those struggles and connect them to the broader societal issues. I speak fast, I speak loud, and I try to keep things real. Oh, next we got Adamaris Lazanza.
Hello, guys.
Adamaris is a feminist and women's rights activist who has participated in multiple movements, including protests connected to the Me Too movement. She's passionate about speaking against systems that limit women's autonomy, and identity. Her style is bold, direct, and expressive. She's not afraid to say what needs to be said.
Absolutely. I focus a lot on how power structures affect women, specifically when it comes to the control over bodies, voices, and identity. So this topic definitely hits close to home.
Then we have Brian Gibble.
Yo.
Brian is currently pursuing his master's in psychology at Yale University, and he currently works closely as a youth mentor. Okay, I'll restart that.
Sorry.
And he works closely with youth as a mentor. He helped them create. He's helped create and lead programs focused on mental health and identity development. His perspective really centers on how environments shape people psychologically.
I'm interested in how identity forms and what happens when that process gets interrupted or controlled. A lot of what we see in The Handmaid's Tale actually reflects real psychological patterns, just taken to the extreme.
And finally, we have Adam Frankenson.
Thanks, Matt. Adam is a
representative for Paygorn, our sponsor for today's episode. He's involved in promoting the platform through community and state events. And he brings a perspective of how systems, especially financial or social ones, can influence people's decisions and identities.
Exactly, Matt. And I realize that you know a lot about addiction because your past
Dude, come on.
history with
Can't talk about that now.
This is key.
That's a soft talk.
Exactly. I'm interested in how people navigate systems that offer support but also come with certain expectations or pressures. That balance between opportunity and control is really relevant to today's topic.
So as you can tell, we got a mix of perspectives: activism, psychology, and personal experience, and system analysis, all coming together for this conversation.
This entirely is skipped.
Okay.
This part waits.
So to start us off, what happens when people are forced into roles they never chose? Thinking about it, I think the biggest thing is that they don't lose just freedom; they lose like their sense of self. Like their identity is built on choice. What you believe, you do. How you express yourself, from all that comes to having the ability to choose. When that's taken away, you're not really living as yourself anymore. You're kind of just like performing a role.
the male performer, basically.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Especially in The Handmaid's Tale, that's exactly what happens. The government, Gilead, controls literally every aspect of their life. Women are told what to wear, how they speak, where they go, and even what their purpose is, such as being birth givers for,
Like, just, like doorman and all that stuff.
Yeah. In The Handmaid's Tale, wearing red isn't just about modesty, it's about uniformity. It sends the message that they are all the same and they don't have individual identities as themselves.
It's like an episode in SpongeBob.
Yeah.
File playing through.
And that's what's really disturbing is how quickly that becomes normalized. Once everyone looks the same and follows the same rules, it becomes harder to even imagine being different.
I guess I'm different. Anyways, I'm just joking. But from a psychological perspective, I think that's like extremely damaging to the mind and, social structure to people. Humans need self-expression. It's how we understand ourselves and how we connect with others. And when that's restricted, people can experience things like identity confusion, low self-esteem, and even dissociation. Over time, I think if you're constantly told who you are instead of discovering yourself, you might start to believe it. And, that's how control becomes internal, not just external.
Oh. And as a billionaire myself, I think choice is really the core of it, When people don't have the ability to make decisions about their own lives, big or small, they lose independence. And independence is directly tied to identity. If you can't choose your job, your relationships, or even your own thoughts, then who are you really?
Oh, facts. Like that's what makes Gilead so effective and terrifying. It doesn't just control actions; it reshapes identity itself. But let's bring this into the present because we're not living in Gilead. There are definitely parallels.
Oh, 100%. Social media is like a really big one. There's this constant pressure to present a certain vision of yourself, whether it's how you look, what you post, or what opinions you share.
Like TikTok?
Like TikTok, absolutely. Or even Instagram. People start curating their identities based on what gets approved. So like top trends.
Facts.
Yeah, like telling TikTok or just like writing on you, bro.
Yeah, because a lot of people tend to like want to fit in.
Right. So like that's where like identity becomes like performative. Instead of like asking like who am I, it kind of turns into like, oh, what will people like? And like over time, that will kind of create a disconnect between your real self and like your public self.
Like TikTok just smacks you up. Yeah, honestly, but that disconnection can be exhausting. That it really can lead to anxiety because you're constantly maintaining an image with tempting so. It also affects self-worth if your identity is based on external validation. And then you're always dependent on others to feel secure.
And then I think I realized to my trip to Ibiza, right, when I went to go see, I was actually in Coachella for a festival.
What was it?
It was really nice, actually.
Really?
Really
Was
long.
people naked and stuff?
Not fully clothed is what I like to say. Yeah. But even outside, like on social media that I had seen them post, there was a lot of expectations everywhere. Family expectations, cultural norms, school environments. People often are pushed into these roles they didn't choose, just like in the novel, though obviously not as extreme, of course.
Right. And maybe that's the point I would make. Gilead is an extreme version, but it's built on real patterns.
Okay. Back to our sponsor. That idea of support can be complicated. Sometimes people in vulnerable situations, especially those struggling with identity or self-worth, might depend on systems or people that don't always have their best interests in mind.
All right. Let's move into our question given from our listeners. Adamars, you're leading this one.
Okay, well, the first question given from our listener was, how does The Handmaid's Tale depict the erasure? The erasure of individuality through naming, roles, and social expectations, and to what extent does this loss serve the stability of Gilead's
regime?
Naming is probably one of the most powerful examples. When the Handmaid's Tales are renamed like Offred, it literally strips away their personal identity and replaces it with ownership.
Like a dog.
Great example, Brian Kidley. Names are deeply tied to who you are as a person. Taking that away is like erasing. I think you meant to say erasing.
I did say that.
Miss Lazante. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's fun.
You're having a hard time. Fixing your
Erasing someone's history, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you.
Slaves.
Then you have roles. Women are divided into strict categories: handmaids, wives, Marthas, and aunts. Each role has one purpose, and that's all they're allowed to be. There's no room for growth, change, or identity. And social expectation reinforces everything. A language is controlled, behavior is monitored, and even thoughts are restricted. This creates fear around being different. And when people are afraid to stand out, they conform, which keeps the system stable.
Okay. I absolutely loved your answer. We're gonna move on to the next question.
Those are the calls.
Yeah, and absolutely I agree with you. I think you had a great thought process and great explanation.
Especially at
Thank you, Miss Lazante. That means a lot coming.
I wonder what you do.
All right, let's get back on track, guys. Let's get back on track.
Getting back on track. The second question is: in what ways do characters attempt to preserve or reclaim their individualities within a system designed to strip them away, and how effective are these acts of resistance?
You know, what's interesting is that most of the resistance is like internal. Like, Offred holds on to her memories, her family, her past life, and even her own name. Those memories remind her of that, like, there's more than what Gilead says she is. She also resists in small ways, like breaking rules or having forbidden thoughts. Those moments might seem minor, but they're really, like, important because they keep her sense of self alive. Then you have characters like Moira, who resist more openly. She tries to escape and refuses to fully accept the system. But the truth is, these acts don't really lead to any big change. They're more about survival, holding on to identity as a person that is in a system designed to erase it.
Okay. Well, for our final question from our listener was: to what extent can identity persist the environment where personal expression is restricted, and how does Atwood's portrayal of Gilead reflect or challenge similar pressures in contemporary society?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, people in the book, right? Like, identity can persist, but it becomes like internalized. People hold on to who they are through thoughts, memory, and emotions, even if they can't express it outwardly. In Gilead in the book, she's thinking about her husband, all that stuff, but it's whatever. But over time, constant control can weaken that identity. If you're never allowed to express yourself, it becomes harder to even remember who you are. But in today's world, we see similar pressures, just in different forms. Surveillance, social expectations, cultural norms, all influence behavior.
Yeah, like even like technology plays a role. Like algorithms decide what we see, which trends we see. Yeah, like everything.
Brain rot. You see how it takes brain rots.
Yeah, like, and even sometimes like it influences the opinions we're supposed to have.
We're exposed to? No, not. I mean, we're exposed to, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, let's say someone says, what's it called? Tung Soar is bad or whatever.
Where you start to think that
like, have you gone on Twitter?
Oh yeah, because there's like a bunch of things where they start saying that certain stuff, like certain brain rot things, or like devilish, or like.
Or devilish, like what was it? Tung Soar?
No, it was like a different one. I think it was a shark one.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, they were like saying how it was like a bad influence and how it was like.
Someone like eating kids.
I don't know how a shark with 4 legs was satanic.
Yeah, it's like a bunch.
What about the Labubu ones?
Oh my goodness, you're so right. Because they had like this whole thing about how
they were demonic and how the Facebook moms were like, don't buy them.
Yeah, because there was like a good time where like a bunch of people kept buying them until like they reached the point where supposedly they were considered just demonic. Yeah, so a lot of people just
Because the way they look, honestly.
yeah. Okay. Well,
I sh-
that shapes identity more than we realize if we're right here. Oh my goodness. This one.
I just restart that.
Okay, yeah, please. That shapes identity more than we realize. If you're constantly surrounded by the same ideas, it can limit how you think and express yourself.
Exactly. That's why I think awareness is so important, because like once you recognize those influences, right, you can start making more intentional choices about who you are.
So to wrap this up, The Handmaid's Tale isn't really just a story about oppressions. It's a warning about how easily identity can be taken away when people lose control of their lives. Through Offred, we can see that even small acts like remembering, questioning, or resisting can really help preserve a sense of self. But when we also see how fragile identity can be when people are forced to conform.
And in today's world, that pressure to conform is everywhere. It might not look like Gilead, but still affects how people see themselves. It looks Maxine.
So think about this. Where in your life do you feel pressure to conform? How do you express who you truly are? Protect your identity. Protect your individuality. Speak your thoughts. Question expectations. Because identity isn't just personal. It's something that needs to be protected.
Yeah, thank you for listening to The Handmaid's Tale Novel Insights Real Impact. Stay aware, stay critical, and most importantly, stay yourself.
Stay creative.
Hey, Warren.